fluff them out a little. We'll see. Had to fluff them just a tad. So, all right. Had to pull that together real quick.
Welcome. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I try to push record while we're laughing, but I also try to make sure that we can pull ourselves together.
Right.
Welcome to The Real on Parenting. I am your co-host, Kiana Shaw.
And I'm therapist Danielle.
And everything is just so funny all the time.
That was funny. Yeah.
I can't. Anyway, I'm excited. Danielle, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Life is lifing, right? And when it's happening and it's coming at you fast, but you can be like, I can stand my ground on this. I can stand in my peace. Like, I love it. Life is really great.
Yes. Good. Good. And always having your support. Leaning into your support. So
thank you.
Anywho.
So mommy check-in.
Right.
Anything going on with your motherhood?
Besides that, it's just going. The question should be: is it dragging me today? I wouldn't say it's dragging me today. No, I think I'm okay. But I'll say this. Let me back up. I would say that my default response a lot of times is I'm okay. And I may be the only person who does that. So let me slow down and think about it. But no, I was thinking like, I'm kind of feeling like I'm over the day. I'm over it. And when having that is more so related to like I'm drained. You know, I'm depleted mentally, emotionally, physically.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it slow. Take it slow and easy for the remainder of the day, just so as a way of kind of just tending to myself.
Nice.
Catching a nap, self-care. Hydrate. Right. The self-care, right? Make sure I eat.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, your lipstick color is popping. Okay, let me just go put that out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would do a mommy check-in.
I was about to ask you. I had to get my oxygen. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Listen, you know, in middle school, the wardrobe changes.
It does often if you ain't got that memo just yet. But
okay, I'm first year, and the level of gray sweats and oversized t-shirts.
Yes.
I am tired.
Yes. Yes. I understand this. Okay. And
it's not just sweats, it could be cargo pants, like, you know, the stuff that individually it's like, okay, that's cool for the weekend. This is cool to just lounge in, and then it just becomes the wardrobe. So if you're a parent and you just like, why do they all look alike? Like you could tell the 8th grade girls because they're starting to wear skirts and things like that.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yes.
Helping my child to get back there.
Right. But the 6th grade girls are like oversized. And it's because of the boys. The boys are making comments about their bodies. So they like hiding. The 8th grade girls are kind of like,
and 7th and the 7th graders, they're still in the sweats.
They're still okay. All right.
They're still holding on to them sweats. Yeah, and it's still holding on in oversized tees, which is fine.
Something about like, 8th grade and being at the top of the food chain. They like,
hey, because it hit different, right? You know, we was there, right? So you know, get a new perspective and sense of fashion. Okay.
Yes, so. And I'm just like, Lord have mercy, and I don't want to rush this process because I know there is gonna come a time.
It is. It is.
And I'm gonna be like, I don't know who bought you that skirt or them shorts, but go give them back, right? Like
that must
I already
be your
know
friend, okay? So give it back to her. And then who is she, by the way? That her mother let her wear that. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But
yes. Right, and then somebody gonna write in talking about how we policing girls' clothes. It has nothing to do with that,
girl. So yeah.
All right. So on that, you know, sometimes as a parent, you have to make the unpopular decision.
Yes.
Before we get this show started, there is a mosquito in my house, and it's huge. And it hid. It went somewhere. I can't find it. But I got my
I
fly
just
swatter.
say, if you hear it
If
and you
y'all
get the
see me
flailing,
go off a camera and Danielle
I'm
is
gonna keep
laughing, but
talking.
she's trying to keep the show together,
I'm
but
gonna
y'all
hold it
hear
down,
furniture
okay?
moving, and me and that, I'm wearing that mosquito out. You hear me? I don't know, but
But I think many people can truly understand.
baby, because it's gonna leave
Understand
this
that,
house on
okay?
this day, and it's not going outside of this room. It's going like, yeah, I got it locked in here. It's gonna be me and you, mosquito. But the point
I
is,
believe me.
what
I
I was
truly
saying
understand.
was, as parents, we got to make the unpopular decisions sometimes. And so it's a reminder that we are not our children's friends, right? Now, that's not to say that we can't be friendly with our children.
Right. There's a difference. There's a
But there's a
difference.
lot of boundaries I think that parents don't have. You know, we used to be terrified to cuss in front of kids. I mean, in front of parents as kids.
And adults,
Yeah,
right?
adults at all, right?
Right.
Um, there was a level of what if this adult know where I live? Uh,
Right.
the
Right.
age gap between us and our parents was like we grew up with parents who did not play this. Right now, of course,
Mhm.
there were other cases. Like I remember there was a dude that lived not too far, and his mother was like, as long as he ain't cussing at me, I don't care if he cuss. That was an anomaly, right? That
Okay.
was not something that was standard across the board in my neighborhood.
Right.
I was at Kayla's school a couple of, I'm gonna say 2 months ago, and you'd have thought that those kids didn't know that there was an adult standing there. It's me, it's, Kayla's dad, my uncles are standing there. And these kids, I mean, they dropping the F bomb, the B word. I'm just like, so at some point I was like, hey, knock
Yeah.
this off. Because y'all not gonna
Yeah.
act like we're not standing here. You will respect us as adults. However, they were like, who mama is that? I didn't want to say I'm Kayla mama because I don't want Kayla to have to deal with shenanigans. But
Right.
Kayla already know, hey, my mom about to say something. Now I'm gonna give you
As
your
you
one or
should.
two because you're not my kid. But at a certain point, you just not gonna disrespect me. And it
Right.
makes me wonder, what is the relationship? And I understand kids do stuff when their parents aren't around. I get that.
Right.
But
Right.
there still should be a healthy level of respect. We saw a video yesterday
Right.
of a kid slap a teacher.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus. Mm.
And he's like cussing her out. He was like, "You want me to hit you again?" She was like, "No, I don't want you to hit me again." But this teacher is trying to keep her cool. I don't have that in me. Put that
Yeah, I
out there.
wouldn't say that I have that
And I
level of
was
patience.
going, his parents need to go to jail with him. That's assault. But what? How have you not taught your son? One, you don't put your hands on anybody. But two, you don't put your
Anybody.
hands on an adult. Three, you don't put your hands on a woman.
Right.
Like, where's the levels of respect? And I think that a lot of it is our kids don't have that level of respect because as parents, we have gotten too familiar. We've allowed them to be too friendly, and we've been too friendly. And so I don't know. I don't know when National Parent Snatch 'em Up Day is, but I'm
So,
here
well,
for
let's
it.
say this. So, with today's show topic, it is you are not your child's friend. You may have some people clutching their pearls, but ultimately, as a parent raising a child or children, you are not your child's friend. There's a time and there's a place for everything, but during the process of raising, that ain't it. Child, a friendly friend, being a child's friend is not it. That comes more so when they are adults.
Right.
So we wanted to talk about this because it's is I would say it's a hot topic. I've worked with many parents, many kids, where a good portion of the parents or the parent, one or both of the parents, are parenting from the place of friendship and bringing their children to therapy for therapy to fix them. And what needs to
Come
be
on
fixed
here.
is the parents. The parents needs to be fixed. So, amongst other things. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. What is, excuse me, um, being a parent is one of, oh, so I'm acting like y'all can read my thoughts. Hold on. So, the difference between a parent and a friend. I would say, assumingly, that everyone knows what's the difference between being a parent versus being a friend. However, those two kind of get big,
I think that I think people don't know, because I
people
think if
kind
they
of
knew, they
collide
would
the two
stop this
together.
foolishness.
Right. It's like they kind of collide the two as if this is an effective option when you are raising children, when it is not. So, as a parent, there are many times where what should be done in regards to addressing your child's behavior, communicating with them, implementing consequence and reprimands, not abuse, consequence, reprimands, limiting access to certain things. Obviously, that's not fun.
Right.
Whereas the friend, and being the friend, actually, if you have a healthy friendship, maybe throw that in there. There are still acts of being honest regarding the matter. If you don't have a friend who will tell you about yourself, who will give you the honest truth about how you're managing, communicating, dealing with things, then that's not a healthy friendship. I digress, though. I just want to put that out there, because I don't say a friendship it does not mean it's a yes person.
Right.
But the difference in regards to the friendship in that of being the parent is, for parent, you're raising a person. You are guiding and showing this little person that you would want to grow up to be a responsible adult, thriving, doing well, can take care of themselves, have healthy relationships, have all the things, but that doesn't default happen just because they're 18 now and they're considered an adult.
Absolutely not.
You as the parent, what has been modeled, what has been shown, and when I say shown, when I say modeled and shown, I'm referencing to the adults. I'm referencing to the parents. What were you doing as a parent, as a parent, doing and not doing, that reinforces that responsible adult now? You're a responsible child that's an adult now. So parenting a lot of times isn't necessarily fun. There are perks, don't get me wrong. There are proud moments, but it isn't the hard work of it all isn't necessarily fun. And it's not like, yes, I get to talk to my child again the 15th time about the same thing. No, who does that? And yes, I get to punish them out. No, who does that? But in regards to effective and healthy guidance in regards to parenting, that is what the difference is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've coached parents and I've had to tell them, like, you're buying your child's friendship. You keep buying them stuff, and because you're trying to make up for this or that, you're blurring the lines. Like, sometimes it's just no. Sometimes it's like, if you're telling them no, we can't afford that, and then you feel bad, and then you go buy them 6 or 7 other things that equal up to half the value of the other, like, you're not helping them. Sometimes they just have to hear the no. Like, that's real life. That's real life. Sometimes, people are going to do things that you don't like, or people are going to make a decision for the household versus the individual. And I've had parents, fire me as their coach because they didn't like it, only for them to discover later that, this is real. Like, I am buying it. I've had kids say, she just gonna buy me stuff, later, like, it's fine.
Right.
And I'm like,
and
that's
they
not
know. Right. I mean, in the moment, because they're speaking from the child perspective, right? So it's like your kids know, and it's like, oh, they have the latest Jordans, or they have the latest makeup, or they have the latest whatever, that's most popular at that current time. But the parent is saying, but I tell them this all the time. But then if you're telling them something all the time, that means that they are aware and they know, however, they're choosing not to do.
Right.
So
that's the part.
So you are rewarding them not doing it.
Bad behavior. You're rewarding bad behavior. You're rewarding a lack of understanding, not understanding, of lack of desire and a lack of respect. And that's not okay. But in the meantime of trying to, and we said this in like it was like a lunch with Paulette, who is the owner of Brownstone. But it was like, you don't have to make up for being the parent who stayed. You don't have to do that. Sometimes you just got to tell your kid, no, this, I get it. Your other parent is absent, and you gonna have to do this right anyway.
Right.
And you're gonna have to show
and
up
that's
anyway.
a hard truth. That's a hard truth, right? Obviously as a parent, you feel bad that the other parent of your child is choosing not to be a part in a healthy or effective way, or at all, which is unhealthy. But and so but I feel with you saying that, it kind of makes you feel can make that parent feel that they have to make up for, and then fill in the blanks. And that's a really difficult burden to carry when it's not your personal burden. Yes. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel bad. It does not mean that. But the other parent choosing not to actively be a part of your child's life is not your burden, it's theirs. Right. So the aspect of trying to overcompensate when the emotional wound is still there is still not fixing it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it better. It still does not address the wound. So now you just have an adult child who expects to look fly and dress fly and have all the things that is emotionally wounded.
I agree. Listen, go on off then, Danielle. So let's talk about these common mistakes that we see parents make. Definitely for me, I see particularly moms making the mistake of oversharing. And when I say oversharing, I mean you're oversharing your dating life. And I'm not against like giving kids reality, right? I'm not against saying certain things, but I am against, like, they don't need details, right? Like,
they're not your friends.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, when you're using them as your friends, when you're using them as your therapist, let them be kids. And so if they're asking specific questions, which my daughter does, you can give that information age appropriate, right?
I was just about to say accordingly. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. But treating them as confidants, that's not good. Treating them like they are your peers, that's not okay. Yes. Like, you have to be mindful. Oversharing the relationship between you and the other parent and why it didn't work out and all and listen, and my daughter has those questions. And my thing is, when you're 16, we can revisit this conversation. Now, I do plan on pushing it out till she's 30, right? Like,
said 30. Don't do that to my niece.
Because I don't want her feeling like, she legit is, a daddy's girl. And my perspective, now her father was like, we will tell you. Okay, no problem. I don't have an issue with that either. Okay. But I still think that there are things that she just shouldn't know. Like, you know what I mean? But she asked it. So, all right. That's why I didn't say I'll tell you when you're 16. I said we'll revisit this conversation when you're 16.
Here we go with wordplay. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But yes, but the oversharing, or I've had some parents say, like, I don't talk about such and such or this and to them, but you do it in front of them. So and you do it so often to where they feel privy to your personal
conversation life that they should never have.
Right. So I just wanted to throw that one out there too. Like, I'm not talking to them. Well, okay, but if you do it in front of them, and don't get me wrong, when we on the phone with our friends and we get to cackling, our volumes is a bit loud, okay? Because we enjoy our
But we get to doing what?
Our cackling. We are enjoying ourselves in the moment, when things coincide and we're finishing the other sentences and our
Right.
our octaves get higher and higher,
What's
they
the
hear you.
from the movie Friday? Girl, yes it did.
So they hear you.
Yes.
They hear you. You can even have the door closed. They hear you. Okay.
They hear you.
So that in itself can have a detrimental impact of your child's perception on your stance as a presence. A presence, girl, a parent. I said it wrong.
Right.
And also
I
that,
understood, but
like
I
you
understand the
mentioned,
audience may not have. Okay.
but also, like you said, that aspect of respect. They don't respect you as a parent.
Right.
So when they come across other parents, guess what? They don't respect them either.
And they say things like, "Why is your mom so strict?" And Kayla got to explain because she ain't my little friend.
Right. And she said it correctly. She ain't my little friend, just so she understands. But yes,
oh
those common mistakes. Also, a lot of parents feel that it's a minor thing that really isn't going to impact much. But it may be a minor thing that's repetitively happening over years, and years add up to decades. And here you now have a 20-year-old. Now what? You can't go, but you're out of the phase. Once they kind of hit that 18, they are out of the phase of teaching. They are out of that phase of guiding.
Not that they can't
do
learn
what they want to do, right? But it's different when you are rearing a child up from a young age.
Yeah.
You got a grown, you know what? And so now you're trying to backtrack and teach. Like, no, it don't work that way. You're showing your children what it is.
Yeah. And that's not an easy thing. It's not easy to give them perspective, but it is necessary as parents to make sure that they have perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Can't be blurring all them lines.
Yeah, this is a whole entanglement. But anyways, so and then the consequences of being a friend to your child. I kind of spoke on it, but it's just the lack of what I'm gonna call deference or respect for authority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you already kind of share it, you know, it's happening. And I'm pretty sure there's many other people or adults who have observed that as well when it comes to the children or this generation. That level of just respect, mutual respect, is non-existent, right. Let alone having that respect because it's an authority figure.
Yeah. And then you lose your own lack of authority. Like, forget the other adults. Like, you not forget them, but pause.
I know what you're saying. Right.
Like, if I am being my daughter's friend, how do I discipline her? How do I, not undermine my own parenting and my own authority in her life, making it hard for me to enforce rules, reinforce rules, set the band, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
yeah.
When we are trying to be their friend, it's like, especially like sometimes I'll log into Instagram and I'll see a parent like rapping along or singing along lyrics, and I'm just like, there's some things that I still don't sing in front of my mother, right?
Right.
No judgment, because right. But it's like, if this is a minor child and you let them hear all the lyrics, you let them sing all the lyrics, y'all taking the same photo together, with your back turned and your booties in the air, like, come on. At some point, you just have to be mom. Yes. You just have to be mom.
And then there's also the part of when your child did something and you're fed up and you're tired. Now you want to put on the parenting hat and discipline.
And that's confusing.
And they come in and they coming back, they're challenging you.
Right. Because they
because
don't understand. Like, what
right,
you putting your chest out for now? We've been
right, but
chilling.
exactly, go say, because in their eyes, y'all friends. And any friend that step up to me, guess what? I'm gonna step back up because that is what you're giving.
Yeah.
That, I mean, granted, your title is mom, your title is dad, but the behavior, the actions that you're putting into it is giving off much
Vibes.
and that's what friends get. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's okay if you've ever had your child do this, but what I would say is listen to the message because it was done for a reason.
Yeah.
And what part did you play, or you individually or both parents play in your child's response?
Yes. I want
Choose.
to say,
Mhm.
because in Mothers Raising Teen Daughters, which is my Facebook community, 25,000 moms strong, we often get moms that say, okay, I know this is my fault because I gave them everything. I never required anything. I did this, I did that. And trying to get parents to understand that I hear the dog. You jumped like, oh God, it's okay. It's all right. It's the real old parenting. The dog is gonna be the dog is gonna dog, okay? But trying to get parents to understand that freedom without responsibility breeds entitlement. And so if we are going, hey, you can have this freedom, you could do this, you could do what you want, you could do what you want. And then we have to beg them to do the dishes. Or
Right.
we've
And
given them
clean
what they want so much that now
so
we
much.
have to absolutely beg them to do the dishes. They
Right.
expect it, right? Now, listen, because I subscribe to petty parenting, okay, I'm just like, if you don't want to wash dishes, I'm gonna take all the dishes out the cabinet. We only gonna have access. We gonna share this plate, because I'm petty. I'm a petty parent. Okay, we got one set of everything. Now, if it's 3 of us in the house, that's gonna suck. If it's 4, you know what I mean? Now, because when you have a spouse, your spouse might not be as petty, so you might have to set your spouse a step aside. But
get their own place.
That child get one set of everything. Okay. I'm not teaching
funny.
Pettiness. I'm just saying. Like,
don't do what Coach Kiana said.
No. I'm not gonna say don't do what I say. I'm gonna say do it at your own. What was it?
Own risk.
Yes.
But
there you go.
I'll say this: there are times where your child's behaviors does require a totally different response.
Yes.
So as a therapist, I've told parents, take their door off. Yes,
absolutely.
I have.
Listen, I took light bulbs out the room because what you not gonna do?
So understand that when it comes to parenting, there are many life lessons, right, that has to be taught and learned. And with your children being their own individual person with their own temperament, likes, interests, and dislikes, their understandings, as well as I put it lightly, way of being compliant, or just understanding like how the rules work.
Right.
There are some kids where that you tell them to do it and they just do it, and there's others where they may ask a minimum of 5 questions so they can understand, then be like, oh, okay, then do it. And there's other ones that just be like, no.
Right.
So and consistently no. So with parenting, with discipline, there's no blue book per se. There's general suggestions and ideas. But speaking of the fact in regards to Ms. Kiana talking about the one place, when let's say, well, can I talk? What's it called?
I don't know what you were gonna
Plate
say.
set. There you go. Can give them
Oh,
words.
play. Oh, okay. See, my bad.
So, and then that would then require the child to wash their dishes. And the lesson was
But if
learned.
we have to get to that point, you've missed some very fundamental things, right? There is
Yes,
no
that's true.
convincing your child to do what you said. Like, I get it, they're a person, but you're under my authority. In the same way, when I go to work, my boss says this is what we're doing, and that's what I have to do.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
house, it's the same thing. And when we
Mm-hmm.
avoid teaching our kids that, we're setting them up for a life of our basement. Because how are they going to keep a job if they've never listened to authority? How
Oh,
are they going to, you
yeah.
know, how are they going to go to school and go to college and listen to
Mm-hmm.
teachers and complete the assignments? Because in college, nobody is standing over you.
Right,
So if
right,
you haven't had that discipline,
right. The self-discipline. So discipline or structure translate to self-discipline, right? As an adult supposed to, as an adult
right,
and self-accountability. It doesn't default miraculously appear because, oh, they're 18 or they're no
right,
longer in my home, and so now they have to fend for themselves or actively take care of themselves. So that kind of leads into like the next one in regards to, for children who do not have structure or consistency with structure within their
right,
home, clear structure, it can lead to behavioral problems, behavioral issues. Do they have to be ongoing and long in time? No, they don't. I work with many kids, and the parents bring them in. They don't follow directions. They don't, and this whole list of what they don't do, right? And within that first session, where a mom will say that they have 4 to 5 temper tantrums a day. Okay. And what triggers them is telling them no.
right,
Okay. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell them no because I want to see it in action.
right.
And some of them do try it, but my response to that tantrum looks nothing like they have with their parent. And two, a lot of times it don't even happen. So
Right.
there's that part of within the session. And granted, I'm not comparing therapy to real life, but what I'm getting at is that I'm very clear on what is allowed and what's not allowed.
Right. And there are things that children do with their parents that when they come to coaching and therapy, they don't pull with us. Right.
Right.
And so that tells me that they understand who they can do these things with.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Mm-hmm.
said that that discipline and structure lead to self-discipline, very true. If your kids so I have a niece who wanted to be a cosmetologist. Well, then Fridays and Saturday, you're not sleeping in because
No,
cosmetologists
you're
get
not.
up. They're at the
Right.
salon. Get
Right. That's
up.
the
And
busiest days, okay?
right.
Make that money.
My nieces, they didn't necessarily like it, but sending me like, okay, you said you want to go to college. You said you want to do these things. 7 o'clock during summer break, winter break, spring break, 7 o'clock. I need a to-do list for the day. What are you accomplishing? Because
Yes,
those are
towards
not
your
the
goal.
times to sleep your life away. Those are the times to propel yourself to the next level. You got a
Mm-hmm.
whole 40 hours right now. How are
Yeah.
you going to be better? And I get
Yeah.
it. Like, and I hear parents say all the time, "Oh, well, kids need to rest. They have their whole life to work." But this is where we show them how to do it.
Yeah.
So making them get
Skills.
a job for the summer is not killing them.
Right.
And the amount of parents who feel it is astonishing. Like, oh, they have plenty of time to do that. But they also could use this time to realize that they don't want to work for someone else for the rest of their life, and then they become entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened with me. I realized that 9 to 5 life ain't for me, right?
Well, that's
Not because I'm better than 9 to 5 people, but because,
mm-hmm.
dude, I do my best thinking between 3 and 6 a.m. I can kill it during that time. Everything else, I'm mechanical for the rest of the day. So if you
Mm,
need first, like, you know what I'm saying? So them
yeah,
understanding, like, you know what, we may need to do this a little bit different. It might look a little different for this child.
right.
But the mindset of let's not stress our kids by making them think. Let's not stress them by making them behave. Let's not stress them by making them respect us. And then we go, I'm gonna stress the therapist out by making by
Right.
saying I
Well,
need
you
you to
don't be
fix
stressing
it.
me out. I should say that.
And I'm just like, you would rather, you don't want to put your kid in a program where they can learn these skills, but then you'd rather pay me to fix whatever they haven't been taught or whatever um, bad
Yeah.
habits they've picked up.
Hmm.
I'm gonna charge a premium for that because,
Yeah, as you
especially
should.
because I know I have programs for your children, and you didn't
Hmm.
take advantage. Now it's like, wait a minute. You're stressing the teachers out because when you go and the teacher has 20, 30, 40 other kids in some cases,
Hmm.
and because you didn't do your part, and these three parents didn't do their part, now we got 40 or 36 other kids that can't learn because four parents allowed their children to be disruptive.
Right.
And
Right.
when the principal comes in, the child starts behaving. And then the parent, I always know when a parent is not enforcing it because when they walk in, their child is acting good. But if they
Hmm.
were really afraid of consequences, they would act good even when you weren't there.
Right. And it's not even the necessarily being afraid of consequences, is the fact that they know that there is going to be a consequence. Not that they're going to like it. I mean, who likes consequence? But that
Facts.
aspect of, okay, what I just did, I know I'm gonna get in trouble, you know,
I like the way I
not
said it
abuse.
better, Danielle. I like the way I said it. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Like the reframe, you know, because some people are really go off of, well, they shouldn't be afraid. No, no, there's a difference between deference and respect.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so when you have your child running amok and you're saying, I don't raise them that way, you know, they get in trouble. So, but there's still aspects that still need to be addressed. Are you consistent? Do you
Right.
say it and just saying there's no follow through? Because that's what it's giving. Okay. So
Mhm.
there's things that needs to be kind of tightened up, you know, needs to be
Right.
fine tuned. It's okay because we're human and we get tired and we get tired of repeating ourselves and we get tired of implementing the consequence. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
totally understandable. However, when your child is showing you that how you're parenting in the aspect, because there, you know, there's different nuances and situations and circumstances that is not the most helpful or effective, you need to tweak you. When the
Absolutely.
friend zone of parenting is showing that it ain't working, sis, you need to tweak and tone you. And it's not for you to like. There's a
Absolutely.
lot of parenting that I don't like, but there's a lot of parenting that's rewarding as a result of the aspects of the part that I did not like, but I did do.
Come on now. Absolutely. And here's another thing. Um, it creates that emotional codependency.
Mm,
Did I say that
yes.
right?
But
Like they fail to get those
yes,
coping
that was a yes,
mechanisms.
you did.
They fail to get those coping mechanisms that they need for independence. And unless you are trying to have your child dependent on you for the rest of their life,
Rest of their life.
and let me
Hmm.
say for the rest of your life, because as parents, we know we're supposed to go first. What happens when you have not prepared them for real life?
Right.
You can't
Yes.
possibly think, and then they become so accustomed to the privilege that they have. Oh, if I throw a fit, then I can get my way. But then when you're accustomed to that type of privilege, when you are faced with having to deal with equality, you feel like you're in bondage.
Yeah.
Equality feels unfair when you've been able to just throw a fit and get your way the whole time.
Mm.
So now you can't even cope with just regular competition and everybody got to get a trophy because it's unfair.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
no,
hope
I
that did
trace
not
that
go over
back.
people's head. Yes.
It did.
Every person does,
Not
every kid does
everybody's,
not
but
deserve a reward. Okay. anyways, so
And if you give my child a reward for showing up, I promise you, we're gonna leave it in the bag. Like, no, thank you. Because what in the mediocrity are we doing here? Okay, go ahead.
right. I feel there's so many segues into other things, but yes. So let's talk about then how do I not parent from the friend zone and have or create healthy boundaries, or healthy balance, I should say, related to parenting. I will actually
But
more so
boundaries is a good boundaries.
okay.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, I would say actually I would more so say the aspect of the boundaries, because there's a difference between parenting from the perspective of the friend zone and being friendly. You know, as Coach Kiana had mentioned before, there's a clear difference. So
Yes.
one, there needs to be boundaries. There needs to be clear boundaries in regards to that's my mama, that's my daddy, and they mama and daddy first and foremost. Okay. So something may have happened at school and I want to share with my mom. I am going to change my language. Yes, I am, because she is not my little friend, right? So there is that communication, as well as that reinforcement of the parent communicating and following through on functioning from the parent role.
Yeah.
How you, so even something that's minor but can have a major impact is your child could be talking on the phone to their friend, but they're talking to their friend, so they're talking however, but an adult is in their presence. Their parent is right there. The words should be changing. Not saying that they're cussing or anything, but the words should be changing.
Absolutely. Because how you communicate with them is not how you're going to communicate with me.
Right. And if the words are not changing, then you as a parent need to say, when there's adults around, especially your parents, you do not speak that way, even if you're talking to your friend.
Listen, we had that situation. Caleb, her friend's mom, and her friend's dad were here. And we were just hashing out a situation that the girls had, right? And the girl's mom said, "Hey, we're gonna come over so she can apologize." I totally respected that. But while the girl was talking, Kayla was like, "That's cap." First of all, I don't know what cap means.
She lying.
I mean, I was able to deduce that from, but I was just like, yeah, if I can't look in the dictionary and define it, no, define it, not defined. Okay. So I had to stop her and I said, hold on, because you're not talking to just her. You're talking to her and her parents and your parent. So you will speak accordingly. Right.
Right.
And she was just like, and I was like, now have a seat right here on the floor. Now they're sitting on our couches. And I chose for us to sit on the floor because they humbling themselves and coming here in the first place. So we will take a seat on the floor. We could have sat on the couch, but the other couch, but it's far away. And we're trying to, maintain this intimacy. So we're going to sit. And she was just like, oh, I was like, no. This is how we're going to do with this. Like, and her mom was not like, I'm protesting. It was like, hey, I'm embarrassed a little bit. I totally get that. Sit down anyway. Right. My mom spoke when the moms were on the show. She was like, voice control. Right. These are things that are absolutely necessary. When I speak, I should get a response in the positive way that I've trained them. And I remember you saying to your daughter, the correct response is yes, mommy. I was like, oh, I'm writing that down.
Sometimes they just don't know, or they feel they know when it's wrong. Let me tell you what the correct response is, right? So, because also, especially if you are guiding your child on how to assert themselves, on how to properly communicate, on how to get their thoughts across, it takes guidance. They're not gonna just know what to say. They're not gonna just know when a circumstance presents itself. Oh, this is when I do this. This is when I don't do this. So that has to be kind of acted out and modeled and explained in real life. So there are times, even to this day, even though my child is going to be turning the big 13 in 3 days, but there's times where I'll say, "Hun, the response right now is yes, mom." She hates that to this day. I mean, but granted, it's not for her to like, you know, right. And once things once emotions de-escalate, then we can have that further open conversations related to what the matter was, you know. Yes. So yes, you know, there's always room for life lessons. Active parenting is not when you want to do it, okay? It's usually when you don't feel like dealing with it. But you remind yourself, I'm teaching and I'm modeling and I'm instilling in my child, who I'm raising to be respectful, successful, caring, you know, all the good, nice, fluffy words, you know what I mean? But it shows through their action. It shows within their character, you know, it shows within their being. And within that journey, that's not coming from parenting from the friend zone. I'm just going to let you know. It's not.
It's not. And,
it's not.
And you're not going to convince us it is. So there's that.
Because we the experts know, right? Right. So then there's just the appropriate involvement, you know. I would say that working with children from toddler to, I call it health insurance adult, which is anywhere from 24 to 26.
What you call it? Health insurance what?
Health insurance adult.
Okay.
Because, you know, you can be on your parents' health insurance to it, depending on the insurance, anywhere from 24 to 26 years old. So that's
they started that well after I had passed those
yes,
ages.
My feelings were, I still remember the day when I got the letter that says you are no longer covered. Excuse me?
It was like, get you a job and get your own insurance. This is the rudest letters ever.
That's a whole nother discussion. But putting your child, no, I won't say putting, allowing your child to have age appropriate engagement with you. So, and a good example for all my girlies who love their nails. I don't know if you ever noticed, I'm a nail girly. I had to tell myself no when I wanted to take my daughter, who then she was like 3 or 4, to the nail shop. Because it sounds cute and it sounds fun, but when you sit back and look at the bigger picture, it's like, but what could be the possible messages within this, and what can she pull from this? What will be the experience? And so me thinking from a therapist perspective, she may feel that this is the norm. She might expect that when it comes just to getting the nails done, we got to go to get to the nail shop instead of painting them ourselves. So it's like, okay, so what's age appropriate for 3, 4? We can paint nails at home. They still getting done. We're not still to the nail shop, you know, but we still did things together. So it's like, what is age appropriate for her to understand that the nails are going to the nail shop and the designs and the bling and the auras and all that stuff, you know.
Now, I still think you should have took her, but you should have just said, like, this is a special day between us.
No, not when I go religiously every 3 weeks. No, that just wouldn't. And I have to go off because I know what my thing is, right? But you know, I'm paying for it, so it's my thing. So it's like, okay, when she turned, I want to say when she turned, so she's going on 13. So I want to say it had to be like 11 and a half. Because I'm like, she closer to, I can't hold no more, you know. And that's when I allowed her to start getting gel manicures. And it did start off with the first one being like regular nail polish. She was like, you didn't stay on. And I'm like, girl, it didn't. But you know, but there was that I did have that conversation with her that this is what I expect of you. Even though this is something that we do we bond together and we enjoy it and we like it, but your room, your homework, your behavior, the follow through of your chores, home in regards to what falls under your responsibilities.
Right.
Needs to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
We're not skipping off to the nail shop and your room's looking a mess. Or I've had to tell you multiple times to clean it or to tidy it. Or I've had to redirect you multiple times on whatever. That is what's contingent upon us together, because mommy going regardless, okay?
And it's okay to tie them to each other, right?
Yes,
like in my house, the saying is, do what you got to do, then you can do what you want to do.
I like that. I like that.
I'm not going to tell you, oh, if you clean your room, you can get your nails done. Don't even ask me to get your nails done if your room is not clean.
Right.
That's how the conversation actually goes.
Mm-hmm.
But do what you got to do. Then you can do, because I don't, once all of your chores are done, once you have shown me that your homework is complete, because that's really all she has to do is chores and homework. It's like empty the washer and dryer, dishwasher, clean up after your dog.
Yeah.
Everything else, and put your clothes away. Make sure your room
is tidy up after yourself, okay?
Right. She has her bathroom.
Like, oh, my child was here.
And I still do, because I'm just a stickler about like cleaning the tub and the sink and the toilet. I still do those things, but not gonna get that counter, hit all the doorknobs in the house. Like you can handle that. Like she's been doing the doorknobs since she could reach them. So things like that for me.
Right.
Those are your everyday chores. I do everything else. Now she is learning to cook and all that. But the thing that I want to point out here is that as parents, there's an appropriate involvement in all things, not just you sitting in a room while they on the phone with their friends. Like that's inappropriate. But appropriate involvement, getting them to do their part. Because when they go to college, they have a roommate. Most cases. If they're not used to cleaning their room, if they're not used to putting their things away, if they don't know how to do their laundry. I remember a friend said, when I went to college and realized how many people did not know how to do laundry.
I didn't.
You're not gonna tell that story on Miss Donna. You are not gonna tell that story on Miss Donna.
But it comes from a place.
Let me tag her in these comments.
And so, but coming from that way of parenting related to like, I don't want her breaking my washing machine, right? You know what I mean? That's where that came from. But unfortunately, it transitioned to how I know how to fold them. But how do I wash them? I didn't even know how to sort them. You know what I mean? And my roommate at the time was like, "You for real?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." So for me, it was like mental note. 20-year-old Danielle was like, when I have children, I am going to teach and show them and make them wash their clothes, because it is a life requirement. You have to know how to do that.
So if you're listening and your kids ain't really doing the laundry, like there's hope, because Danielle there's hope, okay? But I want to point out that that's different than being in your child's life without encroaching on their need to explore and grow independently from you. Recently, Kayla, a friend of Kayla's, her mom was like, I'll come get the girls and take them to Dave and Buster's, because I had took them to like the trampoline park. And she was like, okay, in a couple of days, I'll take them here, right? It's spring break. So, it's like all the parents are trying to figure out, like, how do we, keep the kids safe while we still have to work. And all, so it was just a good arrangement. And I asked Kayla, I said, are you okay if I go with you guys, or do you just want to go hang out with your friend and her family by themselves? She wanted that independence. So I was like, okay. And then I got really excited about being able to go to Costco without Kayla, because, I spend a lot less money when she don't go. And so the mom was like, Costco, that's your idea? And I was like,
we all got our own thing. Okay,
I felt judged a little bit. But, being able to allow them to have some independence is going to be how you create that healthy balance, right? Because then they can come and they can tell you all about it. But you're not one of their little friends that you should be going to every single thing. Now, if we going to like Disneyland, I gotta go, right?
Yeah, that's different.
But if they're just if we're going to the mall and it's like, okay, here's the area, because let's be honest, people be snatching kids. So here's the
They do.
area. I'm watchful. I'm not on my phone, but I'm still giving them some space. When I took the girls,
Hmm.
what was it, last year? I took my daughter, your daughter, and another friend. It's like, y'all walk ahead, and I'm just walking
Yeah.
behind them, giving them
Right.
some space
Right.
so they can have conversation and still
Hmm.
be there as a support and all that.
Right.
But parents, we have to be mindful. That support does not look like us doing it for them.
Hmm.
Give them the
Right.
card and teach them how to put their PIN number in. What do you
Hmm.
mean your child is 17 and don't know how to pump gas? I can't fathom that. We were like, Mom, can I pump it? Can I pump? We wanted to learn those things.
Right. Right.
Now
Right.
children, like the 16, 17 years, they don't even want to drive. They're like, I don't want to take the test. I'll
They
wait till
don't
I'm
want to do
18.
anything for themselves. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you have a child who is one who seeks to want to do it themselves, pour into that. I want to speak to her for a hot second. You know, my
Yeah.
daughter is very much so, I mean, I know how to do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. And
Yeah.
I have had to and still have to be aware of that, of giving her that space to
Yeah.
learn for herself. As parents, you know, it's like how we tell them this because we've experienced it. So we want to give them all the information so they don't know. Give them the accurate, you know, amount of space and the to experience for themselves so they can then learn from there. It's
Yeah.
one thing and it's a good thing to be able to observe it as a parent because you're there versus I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And then here they are, big grown adults now, you shouldn't be observing nothing. Nor because they're like, I'm grown now, so I don't need you no more, mama. You know, I don't need you hovering, you know, mama or daddy. And then it's like that's a whole nother situation that I'll call it a life lesson that they did not learn and they did not master
Right.
because the parent did not allow them to have I call it developmental milestones. That's basically what they're called. Related to just understanding there's different developmental milestones based on age that
Yeah.
should be mastered and master meaning completed, learned, understand, and apply. So when a parent does not
Go
give the
back.
space,
Master mean what?
girl, you better rewind, you better tap, tap, tap so you go.
Completed something and understand. Okay. I'll be winding. Listen, I know how to get to the replay. Okay.
But if a parent has not allowed their children growing up be in their age appropriate space of mastering, whether that's a skill, a task that could be physically, but also emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a bigger issue for them as an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the examples that were given, obviously they're little and you can learn how to do it. But when you're speaking from the emotional aspect, when you're speaking from the mental aspect, where don't know how to um, function independently of someone, because it doesn't just transition to mom or dad,
Right.
it transitioned into being codependent on others.
Yes.
And then that creates a whole nother thing of unhealthy relationships, being in an abusive relationships. I want to, as parents, I want you guys to remember the bigger picture. And within, if you parenting from the friend zone, please stop
Yeah.
because it's not it. And it's not supportive of the great child that you want to raise and want them to be when they become an adult.
Yeah. And we got to be honest about that. We have to be honest with ourselves about it. We have to be honest with our kids about it. There are so many different levels to how we empower and how we stifle our children. And that's why we say, like, you're not your child's friend. You have to be able to pull things in. You got to be able to discipline with love, right? Mm-hmm. Be consistent. You said that a couple of times, right. Fair discipline, letting the punishment fit the crime. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So that our kids know that we are doing this out of love and care. Yeah. And not punishment, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like we understand that.
Yeah, not from anger, not from jealousy. Girl, that's that you stuff. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I like that. I think that was, this is a lot of information, and people, if you're listening, take a moment. Like sometimes I think we hear things and then we disregard them because it's like, well, this is my child and I know how to raise my child. I totally understand that. But just think about it. If you were to pass away today, is your child ready to carry the torch? Right? I remember when my mother, my parents were breaking up, and my mother called us all in, and she was like, "So I want to know that you know how to wash your clothes. I want to know that you know how to cook a meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I want to know that you know how to clean up." Like she knew we could clean up, but she was just like, "I want to see how you wash the dishes." Because it's one thing when we're all like just kind of maneuvering, and it's like, hey, wash the dishes, and and you got 3 kids in there, so it's soap, and so eventually the mom comes in and be like, move, everybody get out, right? But
Right.
she was just like, I want to walk you through step by step, so that, because just because it's didn't getting done doesn't mean it's getting done the right way. And so taking us through each thing to make sure that it got done the right way. That's why I think that I knew how to wash clothes and all that, because it was like, if something happens, to me, I need to know that you guys are okay.
Are good,
right?
Right.
In a divorce, it usually defaults to mom, but it doesn't always, right? And she was just like, I want to know that you guys can take care of yourself until I can get back to you, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm sure there was a ton of things going through her mind at the time. And so teaching us that. But I think about, if I was to go, yes, Kayla can wash clothes. Yes, she can cook a couple of meals. Like she makes the best chicken salad I've ever had, right? She know how to make her cornbread. She know how to she, like I'm like, we not making rack of lamb in here, you know what I mean?
Right.
But she can do her basics. She can clean up. She can clean the toilet, tub, and sink. I just prefer to do it because her bathroom is the one that company uses, and I like, yeah, we gonna have that together.
Right.
But there's so much to this parenting journey, and when we are stifling our kids by trying to be their friend at a time when they can't even be your friend.
Hey.
They can't lend you money. They can't help you pay a bill. Like, friendship for what?
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
friendly, I
true.
understand.
Yeah.
Friendly is just, hey, I'm keeping the doors of communication open. I want you to be able to talk to me about everything, but I don't want you to talk to me any old kind of way about anything.
Right.
And when we forget that, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish your statement.
When we forget that there is supposed to be a boundary, when we forget that there's supposed to be a line that we draw in the sand and our kids are not supposed to cross it. When we forget that, then we find that we have kids who say things like, I hate you, and I'm going to live with my daddy. We find that we have kids who refuse to take responsibility and ownership of the home when you're unavailable. We find that, we have kids who really legit feel like money grow on trees.
Yeah.
Like, well, they said paper is made of trees, and money is paper.
Make some up. So that's why, anyways,
just makes sense.
The states is in the predicament that they in. But anyways, but with that, like Coach Connor was saying, there's a part of being real with yourself, being honest with yourself. And you may know that the whole disciplining thing, that ain't you. You tried it, you did your best, and you just cannot do it for whatever reason. But it still doesn't mean that it should not be done. Right? So then it's like you're reaching out to your supports. Some people may feel that they don't have supports, but there are so many resources. Google it, okay? There's so many resources that you can seek out in those areas where you need additional support, whether that's for your child or just for you. You have your friend. You should have at least one friend who holds you accountable, or even ask them, do I do this? You may already know you do it, but you may need to hear. Sometimes we just need to hear it, but ask, do I do this? And then ask them, help help to hold me accountable when I do this thing, because I'm
Right.
trying to do things differently. You know, so the aspect of having a support system, the aspect of having a village is also within that healthy support. They are helping you stay the course. And as we all know, staying the course is not always easy. There's several times when you want to say, forget this, you know, but there
Or use a
is,
stronger F word.
right. But there is still a goal that is still wanted to be achieved. So
Yes.
you stay the course. So seek out your friends. If you don't have a village, seek out your resources. There's 211 as far as the community resources, and I'm not being funny. I'm being for real right now because you know I'm always
Right.
referencing
No, I
stuff.
get
But
it.
there's you can call 211, and actually you can also Google 211 as far as community resources, and you can type in your zip code, you can type in your state, and you can type in whatever that you're looking for, and it will literally populate
Right.
websites, information, agencies. You know, so not having access is no longer an excuse.
Absolutely not.
And the way that television girl,
Internet.
that you can girl a brain, you know, as far as video options, you know, you can talk on the phone, you can have Zooms, you know, there's different ways that people can be accessed these days. You don't have to have a car. So yes, stop being your child's friend, unless they are an adult themselves. It is okay to be friendly when it calls to be friendly, and still make sure you're parenting from the parent perspective and role, and not from the friend zone.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Drop us your thoughts. Let us know. Drop it in the comments right below. I hope you guys have been commenting. Well, send us an email if you have some detailed thoughts. And you know what? Send us an email if you want to pitch a show idea to us and that you would like to come on and be a part of. We're good with that. Like we have a couple of people who have pitched us ideas recently. And some people we're pitching ideas too. So check your inbox because we might be in there, right?
Right.
So you can send us an email at therealonparenting@gmail.com. I said that right? Okay.
Yes, you
All right.
did. Good job.
And we will catch y'all soon. Talk to you later.